Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today, it is not like an update leak per se, it is more of the future of Dungeon Quest and what is going to be happening. So today, Vinny was nice enough to ask us all in the hashtag polls channel a certain particular thing that might possibly be coming back or might be staying gone forever. And today we're going to be going over all of the pros, the cons, why this is possibly being implemented, why it might not be implemented, and just general ideas and thoughts about the situation from my point of view as well as the community's point of view. So let's just jump straight into it. I do have some new leaks for you guys that will possibly be at the end of this video, or they will be in another video entirely, just depending on how long this ends up going on for, because we actually have quite a few things happening here today. So as I did mention, Vinny did actually put out a poll, and you can actually vote on this poll right now. It'll be down in the description as well as pinned in the comments down below. So this poll was, sorry for the ping, this is kind of important for the future of Dungeon Quest. If we brought back the easy, medium, and hard modes, there would be more loot and abilities available for you guys each update, but he would estimate that the average update will take 1 week extra to complete. So he decided to run a poll of if we should bring back easy, medium, hard modes, or if it should stay just normally as it is currently with insane and nightmare modes. And the result of this poll does not mean that it will happen. It's just to feel, it's to see where people feel in the community, and at the moment we are split 50-50, which is completely insane, and I've never seen such a close decision come to this type of conclusion. And obviously the community is half yes, half no, so there are a ton of different opinions about this, and I'm going to be going over a few of them today as well. It is not, I will repeat, this is not for the next dungeon that is coming out. Vinny has confirmed it is not for this dungeon that they are working on, but it would be for the one after and so on after that, and he's already finished the loot tables for this current dungeon, so this current dungeon will be insane and nightmare difficulty only, so it looks like we'll be increasing to possibly level 110 to 115 again, as well as what we are doing. So let's just start off with the poll. My personal vote, people are probably wondering, is I voted yes. I would love to see the modes brought back, but I did add on my personal take on the entire situation to Vinny over in messages, so he understands why I voted yes and what I would like to see, and that's what we're going to be going over today, because a lot of people don't actually understand why I'm saying yes, whereas a lot of people are like, why would you want that back here? That's just ridiculous. So, pros and cons. Something that is hard to put into different categories, like what you specifically count as a pro, someone might say as a con, because it just depends on people and how they play games, and this is just my personal intake on it and just the people in my community surrounding it. So yeah, the first thing is obviously updates will be taking a week longer. Obviously you can see this as a pro and a con. I certainly see this as a pro, mainly because we are already waiting 3 to 4 weeks for a brand new dungeon as it is, but with the content right now we only have insane and difficulty modes. Obviously we only have 2 modes, so we're only getting 3 to 4 sets of armor, we're getting 9 weapons, we're getting 9 spells, 18 weapons, something like that along those lines, and people just grind straight from insane. They do one insane dungeon, then they are able to complete the nightmare dungeon, and basically within the first few days they have full purple gear and a legendary because they have been grinding so much on nightmare, and they're already finished, and then have to wait 3 to 4 weeks for the next update, which I think is pretty silly in my opinion. Obviously I did that too, and I have been doing it for the past few dungeons. Currently I am level 127 and the max level for this dungeon is 105, so that's kind of an issue because I am so far ahead in levels. I'm able to unlock the next 3, 4, 5 maps at this point in time without even having to play the new dungeons for me to get anything. Obviously I'd have to play the dungeons to get some loot, but that's beyond the point. I will say this now, the development team for Dungeon Quest has actually been expanded. They now have a ton of different modelers. We have Drew the Logo guy, we have Blacksmith who's making all of the weapons, we also have Els who is making cosmetics and armors. A team has expanded quite a lot. We also have Vinny and Joey, obviously still on the development team, making this game possible, and seeing that they have a much bigger development team, they are able to push out updates a lot quicker and a lot better quality. Obviously we saw when one was very rushed, we could tell it was rushed, whereas now we can see that a lot more time and effort is being placed into updates, and it's also a very big pro. We can also, if we extend this 1 week and add in new things to implement for this change, if we add in easy, medium, hard, we'll actually see the ability of adding in cooler bosses with the monsters and creatures inside of the dungeon, other than just like, for example, in desert we just got like the sand peasant and then we got the main boss. It was kind of the same armor that they were technically wearing. How would you, like, the texture? They were wearing the same sand texture, and it was very, basic, whereas now we can actually have every single mob be different. We can see new mobs coming in, like new bosses, and people really, really loved the fact that the bosses from this current dungeon actually wore the armor that you were able to receive as the nightmare loot. That was a really, really cool touch, as well as the grinding. A lot of people don't understand this, is that, as I said, I'm level 127, and a lot of the people are. I'm like in the minority half now of levels, which is actually really crazy. I really need to start leveling up more, but I'm in the bottom half of levels. I've seen people level 130 to level 143, as I saw someone yesterday. So giving these dungeons easy, medium, hard, I think that would personally bring out a new player leveling system, so you wouldn't actually have to wait for the next dungeon to be, okay, I need to grind 5 levels here, 5 levels there, that's what I have to do, that's how I'm going to pass the next dungeon. But now it's fine, kind of the fact where you're able to spread it out, whereas like winter you had like 3 levels in between this one, 5 levels in between this one, just to give you up a different mode. I would like to see if we did add in all of the modes back. For example, well, how would I put this? So I'm kind of putting my own twist on it too, which I'll tell you guys about later. But for example, I like what Treasure Quest did, whereas you had to complete at least two or three of the modes before you can move on to the next dungeon in easy. I did like that, but at the same time, I do not think the other modes that were there would be worth the point, so I have a point to add on to that later. Obviously, some of the cons would be that it's a later update. I understand that everyone doesn't like a later update and they want to see it come out as fast as they can, but you have to remember, this isn't Pet Simulator, this isn't a simulator game where you can just copy the map, change the textures up a bit, change the item or the color, and then do it again. This is not that. This will never be that type of game. This is an RPG dungeon quest mode. This is something that hasn't really been done on the platform before, and it is continuing to expand, and obviously a new dungeon after new dungeon after new dungeon after new dungeon does get kind of boring and repetitive for a lot of people. So that's why they did actually try to implement in a wave defense as a measure to bring in a new leveling system and a new way to do that type of thing. But obviously people see that more of an XP grind other than like a loot, because it's not different loot, it's not a different map, it's just the same thing over and over again. But this is where I'm bringing in my own opinions. You can obviously comment your own opinions about this down below, and I want to hear them. I will have and will be passing every single opinion that I get on this down in the comments and on the Dungeon Quest Discord, in my DMs over to Vinny and Joey, because they want to hear your thoughts and takes on this situation. So my personal thought, some of you are going to hate me for this. I know a lot of people are probably like, Kira, why do you want those modes back? But how about instead of we bringing easy, medium, hard mode back, we stay with insane and nightmare? And I know some of you are probably thinking, but Kira, that's what it is now. No, I would like to see, instead of implementing the old back, how about we bring in the new? So for example, nightmare has been our top tier for a long time, but obviously we're in the hundreds now, guys. We're not like level 30 to level 60. No, we're level 100 plus in dungeons. I would like to see a transition into a lot harder. So for example, insane mode is like the easy difficulty, nightmare is the hard difficulty. Then we move on to the difficulties of, for example, midnight, I don't know. Nightmare, midnight, you get it. So I'm just calling it something random. Whereas midnight mode would bring on new challenges. So for example, you can run the dungeon first for those two normally, and then it gets harder and harder and harder. I would love to see the dungeon extend over, like for example, if we had 3 or 4 difficulties added on, I'd love to see the dungeon extended, the time limit extended, more mini bosses added in, more main bosses added in, or even just like little challenges inside of the map. So for example, in one portion, if you want to retrieve this one thing, for this thing you have to do this thing, or something along those lines, where it gives you something in the game that's other than the purpose of just murdering these mobs and moving on to the next dungeon. It gives like a different perspective on the game. For example, like if it is a heavens map, it would switch to a dark version, or like shadows, or like a fog thickness around you, and you have to fight your way through mobs that way. Or for example, the RNG, if you saw in King's Castle, like the first wizard's RNG that really shot out at you was really skinny lines. What if those skinny lines turned bigger as the dungeons got harder and harder, giving you more of a gameplay to expand on and see what type of techniques you could use, what techniques you can change. Obviously, new armors, new spells, new weapons. That would be amazing and crazy to add. And I know the wiki editors are cringing because there's going to be so much information that they have to get, but we can do this. Us as a community have to stick together and show that we want to see change in this game, and we want to see it for the best. I would love to see it, but at the same time, this is not something that is going to be implemented at this point in time. Vinny is still taking in suggestions and what he would like to do. Some of the big actually community suggestions that I get, I'm only going to read a few. I got one from this person called Not Using My Real Name. They said one of the pros of being an added would be potentially an addition of more items, which has been unconfirmed at this time, as we don't know if the same items will be recycled through difficulties. Likewise with earlier dungeons, aka getting the same item for more than 2 modes. And they also said another pro would be longer progression through the dungeon, which is also a countercon as well, because a lot of people don't like that. They like shorter dungeons. And he also says he legitimately cannot consider any other pro being reasonably valid, whereas he has a lot more cons than I have with pros. This person said there was longer update times between them, as well as more grinding of the exact same map, which is a counter pro as well as the other one. Whereas people want to see more dungeons, but at the same time they want to see less maps. Sometimes it's weird. And then he also said new dungeons usually take 1 to 2 days to go from insane to nightmare. So for those wanting content, aka meaning ones willing to grind, they'll get to nightmare from easy within 3 days maximum, thus creating a trade-off of 3 days extra of fresh grinding for over a week to add a new update. As well as they did say, if the modes were added with 5+ levels every single time, you'd need to be level 140 for Nightmare if it's currently how it is, which then makes it so people have to level up 30 to 20 times just to do the exact same map at a higher capacity, lowering the desire to reach Nightmare and be able to then grind out for the next map, which would require to be level 185. If not, the level scaling is likewise to Desert, and we'd still have to get about 5 to 15 levels depending on where the player is at. And the TLDR for this entire thing is extra grinding of the same map without being allowed to grind a final Nightmare gear because of level restrictions. And these opinions are obviously personally biased, as he confides in the cons more being crucial versus the pros, but at first he thought the idea of the new difficulties as an idea he'd vote yes for until he thought deeper about them. As well as I have a really strong positive one as well from ShadowX55 saying, people do not know the full story on this and what is happening, and they would like to see that this means more frequent but less quality updates, which is kind of a con. And then he also said the less frequent amazing maps. Voting no means that you put a lot more work into developers in order to make dungeons that satisfy 10 levels only, and everyone higher is left to wait for the next dungeon only to level up faster and wait a longer time to level up. As for making it so that the devs release a dungeon that takes 30 levels to get through, making the devs work more on newer dungeons that are more better quality and better experience altogether. Playing these types of games is also about leveling up and experiencing new dungeons and new difficulties here and there. Right now, this game is basically level up to an extremely high level only to be dissatisfied waiting for 3 weeks because you excelled past the dungeon you are playing because you didn't have the extra 3 difficulties to work through. And it brings up a really solid point that I want to say. Basically, I would like to see capping. Capping seems like something that I'd love to see, mainly because people get so far ahead to the point where they can't go anymore, and then they're dissatisfied with every single update, and we cannot meet the demand of how many players are at the above levels. I'd like to see a cap, but at the same time I understand if you don't implement a cap, it's just something that's, you can, but at the same time, should you and would you? Because I personally wouldn't mind a level cap. For example, like right now, people are like level 140, and it would say the cutoff would be like 145, and say, hey, stop doing this. You need to like get these levels up and do the dungeons first, or having a cap of who can complete what dungeon or something like that. It just depends how it's implemented and what you do with that. Just my own personal opinions though. Obviously, a few people have felt very, very strong on this, and I personally say I would like to see the old content reworked into new aspects. That is my biggest thing. I would like to see old stuff reworked and revamped into new creations and new ways for us to make our dungeons different and crazier, and a new experience overall for all of us. I know people are probably listening and some people may not agree with me, but that is just what I personally want to see. I am a YouTuber and I love content, and I love being able to play the games and play them very well through. Like, for example, I have been playing Sword Wars 2 a lot recently, but I am very, very far. They're on 10 floors and I was started at level 1. It is very hard and intimidating to get all the way to level floor 10, and that's a very, very hard thing, and you want to try and rush there as fast as you can, but you also have to respect the grind in the game as well, as that is what the entire game is about and why you actually fell in love with the game to begin with. And that's why I fell in love with Dungeon Quest. I didn't just fall in love with it because of the community made me stay here because you guys are absolutely amazing and you guys have shown so much support, but also the people involved in it. These updates every single month have been amazing, and I cannot wait to see what Vinny does in the future for these types of updates, but I want your opinions down in the comments below, what you guys think the future of Dungeon Quest is going to look like, because it is something that we all need to think about and see what we can implement, how we can implement it, what we can change, what we can fix, what needs to be worked on, and the same says for the Dungeon Quest staff team too. Obviously, people in the Discord have their opinions on the staff team, and if you have anything about that personally as well, feel free to message me 100% on Discord, and I will pass that along to the head mod over there, or I'll bring it up in the seniors chat. But yeah, I said, and I promised I would talk about some leaks. So just to end this video on a highly positive note, we have some brand new dungeon leaks. We have a new spell as well as some brand new images for our logo, and we also have a confirmed cosmetic armor piece, possibly. I'm not sure if this is going to be an armor set in the game or this is going to be a cosmetic, but it looks absolutely amazing, and Els worked so hard on it. But I'm going to be going over those specifically in tomorrow's video, but I thought I'd let you know a little sneak peek for the people that stay at the end of the video that actually watch this all the way through. Breathe, Kira. You need to breathe. I'm talking a lot because I haven't been able to talk in so long, and I'm finally feeling better, and it's amazing. I'm still a bit sick and with my chest infection, but that's okay. We're all good. We're back, and we can do this every single day for it now. So hi, I'm here. Yes, I might stream as well this week. Just saying, just depending on my schedule. I have a lot going on in personal life right now, but it's all good. So yeah. Leave your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below because I want to hear them all, and I cannot wait to see what you guys do for this type of update because I'm excited, you're excited, and if you have any thoughts about what the update is, let me know because I want to know. This Barry here needs to figure out what this dungeon is going to be ASAP. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's little, oh my gosh, it's like 20 minutes long, but little mini video, and I hope you guys enjoyed because I did, you did, we all did, okay? If you if you like it, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you guys are brand new to the channel. Also hit the notification bell if you want to be notified every single time I post a video or start a stream. And thank you so much to the people on the screen right now for being my current channel members. You guys are amazing, and if you want to learn how to become a channel member, just click the join button either down below or on my main channel page. But movie night still on hold. Rabbit shut down their service, and I don't know what to use. So if you have any streaming website options that we can all join for movie nights, let me know. Need to know that. But other than that, I hope you guys have a lovely day or night wherever you guys may be in the world, and I'll see you guys in the next video or stream. Bye guys.